How many of you guys out there joining us today are fans of crystals? If that is you, raise your hand. I'm a big old fan of crystals. I've got a couple right here with me right now. How many of you guys out there feel that call of being an emerging light worker? You're also in the right place if you're feeling that nudge in your life. And how many of you guys out there are interested in knowing more about star beings? We are going to be talking about all of those things today on the show. We're getting started a little bit early because I have back-to-back sessions going on today here on Lightworkers Connect. And I really want to give each of my guests time to share their story with you. So Louise Keoghan and I are starting a few minutes early here. I'm going to take just a few moments to share out with the rest of my audience, Louise, while you say hello to everybody. We've got Coach Nick in the house with us.
Oh, thank you. Thank you, Coach Nick.
So go ahead and say hello to everybody. I'm going to do a little bit of sharing. Coach Nick, why don't you share out a little bit too? Give us some hearts and some likes. Let's get this rolling out there through Facebook, because so many people are really moving through this process of becoming aware of star beings, becoming aware of crystals, feeling that emergence within themselves. So go ahead and say hello to everybody, and let's get this message out so people can know what's going on with themselves, right, Louise?
Well, firstly, thank you very much, Emily, for giving me a platform to talk. I'll come on to star beings in just a little bit in terms of why I've actually agreed and volunteered to work alongside them. I thought viewers might be interested in terms of, firstly, knowing how I've come to be where I am now talking to you, and where my kind of spiritual path really emerged. Mm-hmm. But it really started 2012, 2013, when I actually know what spirituality was. I just was experiencing things, but I couldn't really describe what exactly they were. I just knew that I was starting to see the world in a very different way to how I'd been brought up. And really the foundations were laid going back when I saw advertised an Indian head massage course. And I thought, wouldn't that be really nice to have on my CV that I can do Indian head massage? So I applied. Part of the course I was able to do at home, and part of the course was an assessment. So I went to Wales thinking, I'm here to do this assessment and hopefully it'll all go well and I'll pass. Then I'll come home with my certificate. And of course, I wasn't there for an Indian head massage at all. That was really the foundations of my spiritual path. I was there, and the lady who was assessing us she worked with angels. And I didn't know of anyone who worked with angels as a career. And she was able to go in this immense amount of detail about how she called upon the angels, and that you should treat them with respect, and that you needed protection. And I didn't actually know what the lady meant by protection. Mm-hmm. So I just sat there thinking, what does she mean? And I couldn't contain myself. I had to ask. So she explained about when you work with cosmic beings and angels, you do need to protect yourself. And she explained how to do it with crystals. And of course, that was my first encounter really with crystals. I mean, I knew a little bit about them in terms of my birthstone and so forth, but I didn't really know that it was possible to work with them as part of your work. And there were a lovely group of people doing the exam alongside me. And they were saying, well, they worked with angels and Reiki. And I knew Reiki from having done so myself, but I'd never actually worked with angels. And so it was literally one thing after another. I was coming back with more information that was so new to me. I didn't even know what a chakra was. Where's the chakra? I can't physically see it. I can't feel it. Mm-hmm. And so I left feeling that I had to get in touch with Reiki again. So I did a few weeks later, and I became a Reiki master. And really that was the evolving of where I am today. So that was the background. Then the second stage in terms of my spiritual journey was I'd left a successful career in teaching and teacher training, and I'd retrained in project management as a Prince 2 practitioner. I did it for all the wrong reasons. I thought I was going to make a good living out of it. Mm-hmm. And I became very, very unhappy. It was a long drive, a good hour there, commute, and then another hour back, long hours. And basically I put on a lot of weight. I became really, really unhappy. And after 9 months, I decided, you know what, I'm not doing this anymore. So I had it in my notice. So my boss was really upset. He said, oh, no, we'll give you a better job. We'll give you more promotion. You could even work from home. Mm-hmm. Have a month off between transitions, handovers, and so forth. So I did. And that gave me a month basically to do things that I never had done before. My parents lived locally, mm-hmm. and I hadn't spent that much time actually listening to to them. I was coming home, I'm tired, off to do homework with the children and so forth. But what I hadn't realised is my dad was actually very ill. And basically because I'd been promised I could work from home, I could work flexi hours. I was promising my dad, this is fine. I don't know what's wrong with you, but I can work from home and I've got these flexi hours. I can take you to the hospital. I can take you to all these appointments. It's no problem. Just relax, leave it with me, and I'll work around my hours. So basically what happened was the job ended up not happening. And I ended up basically not working for a few years because my dad was ill and my mum was also ill. And sadly, dad was diagnosed with advanced pancreatic cancer. So I ended up, that was the next stage in terms of spending so much time with my dad at hospital, different appointments, and really being next to him, doing all this soul searching, wondering, well, what's the deeper meaning? Why has all of this happened? As a single parent, I'm not earning any money, and I'm trusting in the universe that there's a higher purpose. And I didn't understand what it was at that time. I have to say, I was knowing I wanted to read and I wanted to engross in spiritual books when I was waiting for all these appointments, but I still didn't know why all this was happening to me in the way that it did. So basically, that was my next stage. I spent a lot of time with dad and I saw a lot of people very sick in the hospitals. And I was there thinking, you know, I want to do something. I didn't know what it was I wanted to do. And I'm not talking about wanting to like train to become a doctor. But I was thinking as a person, there must be something I can do to make a difference, to help people lead happier, healthier lives. Because in this hospital, all these sick people, and all they were doing was talking about their illness. And I spent hours there, and it didn't matter what ward I was in, what department, it was people constantly talking about being ill. I'm not going to do that.
The biggest thing that I'm hearing from your story that I think a lot of people out here can relate to, Louise, is that it didn't happen instantaneously. It's not like this flash of all of a sudden we're like, oh, I'm a light worker. I got to go figure out what that means and how it works. It's a process, and it starts with an igniting of our curiosity, which you said happened to you in a class, in the head massaging class that you were taking. And then we go through a process where a lot of times our life can get difficult. Like we start to get squeezed. It's like life's making a lemonade out of us, and it's squeezing the juice out. So I just want to encourage all of you guys out here, if you are experiencing these kind of shifts and changes in your life, and you're expecting your awakening process to be full of butterflies and rainbows, sometimes there's that comes along with it. There are a lot of these amazing aha moments that make us really feel connected, but there's some work to be done as well. And a lot of times we get squeezed through this process. So if you can relate and that's happening to you, do not get discouraged. Louise, what happened to you after that? Once you decided that there's something that you have to do, but you weren't exactly sure what it was, what was your next step, and how did you figure out what it was for you?
You just prompted me to talk about Merlin, who played a very pivotal part in my ascension path. But when I was getting into crystals, one of the early crystals I bought was this Merlinite. I've read, oh yeah, you can work with Merlin. So I bought this very one, and I thought, great, I'm going to be working with Merlin. And I heard this inner voice saying, you're not ready. And I remember going straight into ego. Excuse me? Did you say I'm not ready? I bought a crystal, full in the ego. I bought this crystal and I'm going to work with you. And I was told very, very assertively, but very lovingly by Merlin, I wasn't ready. I've got to do my own inner clearing, and I had to do my own stuff before I could even contemplate doing work on anyone else. So I'm very grateful to Merlin, because although initially he didn't want to work with me, but I understand now why. It all makes sense to me several years later. But at the time, he was very clear that you've got to learn to do the clearing, the forgiveness, the healing, the letting go, the releasing, and all those things that I hadn't really thought of doing, because I didn't realize I needed to do them until I actually sat and reflected on what Merlin had said. But thankfully, a couple of years ago, I did get initiated into the Order of Merlin by Orengus Kensington, and I do work with vortex healing now. It has a happy ending, but just to say to people listening, you know, if at first you don't succeed, I was told no. I didn't like it at the time, but it was what I needed to hear at that very point in time. So basically, in terms of my story, Merlin also helped me to start to do my inner cleansing. So I basically, for a good 2 years, didn't work, and I really had to keep trusting and surrendering to the universe, and it wasn't easy. And thankfully, one of the things I did learn about, and I hadn't heard of before, was the law of attraction. And one of the things I seemed to be able to do successfully when it came to money management was to manifest that other people would pay for things. And that's how I used to be able to manage the fact I was unemployed and supporting my 2 teenagers at the same time. So I had this gap of employment, and then I went back to work, and I decided I'd go and do teaching for a bit. And it was only when I went back to teaching I realized how much supply teaching that is, and I realized how much I changed, how much my energy changed. And I hadn't realized that all of these things had happened in the years I'd left teaching, and I became very, very sensitive to the energies of children at school and anything very negative, and also some of the teachers as well. So I decided after that for 7 or 8 months that I was going to make this decision to actually come out of teaching. And again, a risk, because surrendering yet again. So I started to work with Mother Sekhmet, who is absolutely brilliant. She's an Egyptian mother who's a fantastic healer. And if you really need to heal and you need to do the inner release work, she was great. And she gave me all sorts of really proactive advice. And one of them at the time was on Facebook. I didn't have a photograph of myself. And I worked as an alias as well. And I loved all of that because I was free. No one knew who I was. They didn't even see my face. He very, very assertively said, well, excuse me, if you want to be doing some healing, then you have to be transparent about who you are. You can't go on it under an alias, and people want to see you because they want to decide whether or not they feel that your energy and your face is appropriate. And of course, it was all true. So that's the push I needed, the gentle nudge. So I'm very grateful to Mother Sekhmet. And after that, really, that's when I started to make the transition on Facebook and to promote the life coaching work that I've been doing. In fact, I've been doing it for many years in different roles, but to do it more professionally on Facebook.
I love this. Yeah, I knew that you guys would like hearing about Sekhmet, because these are beings, goddesses, whatever label you want to give them, right? Their label doesn't matter at all to them, but you can call on these beings when you understand what it is that they're here to do, like what their specialty is, and they can help you move through these processes. If you guys have any questions for Louise, I want to invite you to go ahead and type them in. I have a question for you. This is the second time that I've heard you say, well, I heard them say to me. You heard Merlin talking to you and you heard Sekhmet talking to you. Can you explain to the audience listening right now, what exactly does that mean when you say, I heard them? Do you hear an audible voice? Is it in your inner hearing? Is it like a knowing? Because I know so many of us are learning to figure out knowing.
It's a knowing. It's not like I hear your voice. It's a knowing. And often what I will do, I'll say, can you verify that, please?
Perfect.
And normally, because I always just check. And normally what will happen is I will get verification later on, often through music. I'll be in the car, and literally it'll either be the first, second, or third song. There will be something about the lyrics, about the artists that resonates in some shape or form to the questioning that I've been asked. And it always fascinates me that it can be a really old piece of music, it can be something contemporary, but there's just something about it that actually affirms what I actually wanted to know.
Beautiful.
And now I can feel the energies as well, and the energies are different. But Mother Sekhmet always likes me to say to people, remind them it's not just for women, it's for men, it's for anyone. And when we work with a female deity, they will work with anyone. Gender doesn't matter. What matters is that you set the intention that you want to, because we all have free will. We just have to ask them and invoke their presence and ask them to help us, and they will come to anyone.
Beautiful. Okay, so let's dive into star beings a little bit, because that's one of my favorite topics. And I know there are some people out there who tend to like get a little stiff when we start talking about extraterrestrial beings coming on in. So let me just invite you guys to start taking some breaths. All right, deep breath in. Some of you guys love talking about it like I do. So Louise, share with us you have a lot of knowledge about the different species of beings that are here and what they do for us. So enlighten us on that a little bit, please.
I'm always learning, but I want to share a true story. This is me manifesting, and I'm manifesting it as if it's already in my diary and it's about to happen. I'm manifesting that I want to interview star beings on one of their starships. And I see myself already.
Mm-hmm.
I can see the camera's to the right of me. I can see what I'm wearing. I can even see the box I've got on. And
Nice.
I'm doing an interview, and it's being filmed. And I'm talking light language, which is the language of star beings. And I'm actually with my audience. I'm saying, are you ready? Are you ready to go on board this starship? Let's go. So what I have as part of my manifesting, I have
beautiful.
This beautiful picture.
That is beautiful.
And around it, yes. And it's generic. It's not specific for any one star being. But I'll share how it all started off. That when I first got into star beings, they were a very important part of my spiritual awakening. And these are just some of the examples. I hope you can see them. They're not terribly big. Yeah. And what I do in the summertime, you might notice a few of them have got soil on, is that I keep them outside and we do healing grids.
Wow.
So there's lots of them. In fact, you almost a few of them were related. Look at these two.
Yes. Very cool. Thank you for sharing those with us.
Oh, my absolute pleasure. You see, some of them, because they're small, they don't get to be shown very often. So I try and be fair to all my crystals and just let people see you can start off with something very, very small. But what was really interesting, though, is that these were some of the early crystals I bought, and I couldn't explain to you at the time why. There was no obvious logic to why I would choose to buy crystals that look like this. I just used to look at their face on the internet and think, oh, they're really nice. I like them. And I've got a few more. This is Venus, to do with Venus star beings. Now, Venus star beings, this is rose quartz. And absolutely beautiful. Go to Venus star beings if you need to feel love. If you feel the unloved and you just want to know what it's really, really, really feel loved, go to Venus star beings. In fact, all of them, but in particular. So they're very beautiful.
Louise, can you give, Krista's got an awesome comment/question here. She said she's had dreams of big-eyed beings that have appeared and that felt like her son. Now, I know that, Bridget Nielsen, who, I don't know if you guys know her on YouTube, she's talked about before, like moving into different realms of consciousness and meeting her hybrid children on other realms and other planets. What do you know anything about this? Can you shed any
not something light I'm familiar with? No. But I'd certainly ask. What I would do if anything happens to me that I'm not quite sure about, I always call in my guides and I ask my guides to protect me and to assist me and to direct me. And that's probably the first step I would say in terms of what the lady should do is to call your guides. We've all got our guardian angel. We've all got a team behind us, and often we forget that and I'm no different. I forget sometimes to acknowledge that my guardian angel is here. In fact, often one of my greatest reminders of my guardian angel being present is my cats. Is that when one of my cats will often look over my shoulder, not at my face, but just look over my shoulder, and it's a reminder. Then, oh yeah, I know you're looking at my guardian angel. Okay, so that's what I would do: is to call in your guardian angel and ask your guardian angel and your team to give you some further support.
I like that. And it reminds me back of my Akashic Record training days when my mentor would always encourage us, like, get in there and ask. Like, we would always go to her and ask because we were very comfortable working with another human being that looked like us and that could communicate back and forth the way we spoke language. But it's really important that we learn to have our own journey and start asking and receiving the messages in whatever way you receive them, whether it's a knowing or whether you need to sketch out pictures or whatever it is. Continue on your journey, follow that intuition, and you will be guided in the exact places that you need to be, right?
Sometimes as part of your own journey, you're not told because you need to work it out yourself. For example, I've got a new guide, a new Hathor guide, and I haven't worked out the guide's name yet. No one's told me, and the reason why is because that's my responsibility to sit down and actually meditate and to communicate specifically with my new Hathor guide, because I'm very interested in sound healing, and the Hathors are experts when it comes to sound healing. I know it's telling me because that's my personal responsibility. That's part of my growth, my spiritual growth, my soul's growth, is to be able to ascertain that relationship and develop it myself without asking anyone else to do it for me.
High five on that one. I love that. I think that's the really very, very powerful piece of wisdom, guys. If you take anything away from this interview today, take that with you and know that it's your responsibility to dive in on your journey, and that there are many ways that we can do it. So Louise has a really great process for us today. We're going to pause our star being conversation now, and we're going to move into, you also work with Miss Mary Magdalene, right?
Yes, I do.
And specifically working with forgiveness, which is really, really important right now, because we're having a lot of transitional energies coming into the planet that are moving all of our old stuff out of the way. And so much of that has to do with forgiveness, forgiving ourselves, forgiving others, maybe even forgiving your ancestors if you're carrying a lot of negative energy from things that have happened in your family. So what process do you have in store for us today? I'm very excited about this.
What I'll do is I'll talk you through the process. I'll speak slightly slower, deliberately, so that if people just want to sit and listen to it now, they're welcome to. They might want to close their eyes, or they can keep their eyes open. Or they might decide, well, we'll come back to it at another point in time, because time is just an illusion, and make notes and just play around with it. So whatever version of what I'm about to present will be right for them. And basically, this was a method that Mary Magdalene gave to me because I was struggling with forgiveness, certain people in my life. That it's the past. And as she very lovingly said, do you really want to be holding those vibrations with you any longer?
Right.
Or are you ready? Are you ready now? Do you feel you're ready to do this release work? And so I said, I am, but I feel I need some help. But as long as I was willing to at least set the intention to the best of my ability, I was going to do it, the process began. So just a little card for you there, Mary Magdalene.
Beautiful.
Just to set the scene. So what we're going to do now is just look maybe for about 10 minutes about how we can work with the power of forgiveness, the power of forgiveness to empower our own lives and to free our souls. Basically, what I'm going to do now is I'm going to invoke Mary Magdalene. I'm actually sitting in my own sacred space. I've got these Iona Ascension spheres, Beautiful. Which are attuned to the vibration of Iona, which is a small island on the west of Scotland, where Mary Magdalene used to live, just to make sure that we only have the highest vibration possible. I'm invoking Mary Magdalene now, asking her to overlight the work that we're doing. We ask for her that everyone who's taking part, whenever that will be, that she holds them in a bubble of light, where only the highest vibration for everyone concerned can permeate through.
I can feel her coming in as you're invoking her, Louise. It's very, very powerful. Do you guys feel that? Whew.
This is very powerful release, very, very powerful release work. I'm also going to invoke in Mother Kuan Yin and her angels of compassion and forgiveness and unconditional love. I'm also going to invoke the presence of Archangel Chamuel and Archangel Raphael to ensure the highest outcome for all people taking part, whether it's right now or at any point in the future, for time is just an illusion. We proceed now with our guidance from Mary Magdalene. He says, begin your forgiveness journey. Begin it right here, right now, by writing letters to all those people who have caused you any pain, any suffering, or whatever that emotion is that you feel is depriving you from leading a life filled with joy and happiness. In your letters, do not hold back. Write in as much detail as you feel is possible and relevant. Write about all those people that have hurt you. Tell them in this letter what they've said, what they've done, and how they made you feel about the situation. Express all those emotions in your letter. The key is don't hold back. Keep writing and writing. Tell them about what made you feel angry, what suffering you felt you caused. And if need be, feel free to shed some tears. Allow yourself to cry, if that's right for you. Releasing tears will allow healing to proceed. As you write these letters, Also set the intention that you wish to release yourself from being in a place of judgment. You're here to do release work. No one here is a judge. If you feel you need further assistance, do call in Mary Magdalene and Mother Sekhmet. Ask them to fill you with more compassion, to assist you to do more release work. Ask them to fill you with unconditional love, joy and peace. Set the intention now that you wish to forgive yourself and everyone else involved. Say in this letter that you are sorry for any of your actions and any of your words that have contributed to this situation. And you're now ready to release that pain. We now call in the presence of the mighty Archangel Michael. We ask him now to join us and to fully sever ties with the person, situation, event that led to your. We call in Archangel Michael and 30,000 of his legion of angels. They are here to help empower us, to reclaim our power, which is our divine right. And we can request it be restored to us right here, right now, with gratitude to Archangel Michael and his legion of angels. We surrender to them. We trust and know they will take care of this request for the highest good of everyone concerned. Thank you, Archangel Michael and your legion. We call in the presence now once more of Archangel Chamuel and Archangel Raphael. Archangel Michael has kindly helped several ties with his legion of angels. So now we ask these two angels, Archangel Chamuel and Archangel Raphael, with their legion of angels, to fill whatever is removed with unconditional love and healing. Any residue negativity, we ask them to transmute it and to return to Mother Earth fully healed. Mary Magdalene returns to offer us more guidance. She says, keep writing these letters. Keep writing them every day until there comes a point when you have a pen in your hand, you're ready to write, and there is no longer a need to write that letter. The healing has fully been completed. She now integrates and seals all changes that have occurred, so you're free to heal and to move on. So, you might ask yourself, what do you do with all these letters that you've written? Well, you have options. You can burn them, which is what I prefer to do. I put mine in the chimney. Some people like to bury them in soil, and others like to soak them in water. The choice is yours. There are no rights and wrongs here. You'll do what's right for you. Personally, I prefer to do this around the time of the full moon, the day before, during and after. But I do know some people that like to do it under the new moon because they prefer to focus on well, I've done the release work and now I want to focus on a new relationship or a new job or a new whatever. So they do it the day before the new moon, the night of the new moon, and the day after. The fact is that you've set an intention. You've invoked the presence, along with myself, of all these deities and angels. That is enough. It is not necessary to post or email your correspondence. No one needs to see anything that you've written apart from yourself. Just one little point. You can do this with children. It can be easily adapted to children, and it's suitable for teenagers and adults. There are no exceptions. All we need to do is just invoke, ask their assistance, and it will be given. We now thank all the cosmic beings who have taken part: Mary Magdalene, Mother Sekhmet, Archangels Michael, Chamuel, Raphael, and also I understand the cosmic beings, the star beings, have been holding the space as well, offering healing for anyone that wishes to receive it from them. And I also understand that Archangel Metatron has been observing the whole process as well. Not taking part, observing. We thank you all. Thank you.
That's amazing. You've really helped release a lot of people out here, my good friend. Look at all of these thank yous and tingles and
Pleasure.
just beautiful releases that are coming. Isn't Louise awesome? I'm so happy that you've come here to hang out with us today.
We're very blessed that
Yes.
Mary Magdalene, Mother Kuan Yin, the angels, that they're here, and I'm just happy to be the conduit. They're the ones that have given me the guidance, and I share it on their behalf and just say to people, they are there to help us. No one, at this time of Aquarius, no one needs to be carrying these low vibrations anymore. And the more people that release them, everyone benefits, because the planet, the vibration of the planet goes up. Not just at you, me, or whoever's part of this particular session now. Everyone benefits. It's a win-win situation. And I wish everyone the best of luck.
So amazing. Okay, so before we wrap up and say goodbye, Louise, tell everybody where they can come find you so they can be friends with you on Facebook, where they can find you and find lists of your services. Share with us, please.
I have a page. It's called Louise Keoghan, Spiritual Life Coach. That's where I offer my services. And if anyone is interested in learning more about spiritual things that interest me, I have a Louise Keoghan Facebook page as well. But my Louise Keoghan Spiritual Life Coach is where the business side is.
Will you go back and put that in the comments for us after this interview so everybody can find you nice and easily? Whew, that was so good. I can't even tell you guys how blessed I feel to come across such beautiful people like Louise and all of the light workers that I've interviewed here on the show who are so willing to be open and share their gifts with us. This is a template for you guys as well to start stepping into your gifts and abilities, because we all have them. Yes, we're all special, but we all have this ability as well. You don't have to have, there's not like special, oh, you're better, you can do this, you can do this. We can all do this. So I hope that not only are you healing when you come to hang out with us, but you're being inspired as well. You're being inspired to learn and discover about what your gifts are. And here's how you find out what your gifting is you follow your interest. You follow those things that you make your way to the Indian head massage class that you think, oh, that's kind of interesting. And you follow those little pebbles along the way. And people like Louise and I, we're all here to help you move through that process. If you guys are not yet members of the Akashic Academy, I invite you to click the link at the very top of this page. Check out what's going on inside of the Academy, because this is where you'll find a community of people who are learning and growing and doing the exact same things that you're doing, of stepping into your soul purpose. So I invite you guys to connect with us there at the Academy. Thank you so much, my dear friend,
and
for joining us today.
Thank you for the platform. Thank you, everyone, as well, for your company.
And guys, we're going to say goodbye to Louise, and then I'm going to take a quick bathroom break and come back with Raina. So you take a bathroom break too, grab yourself a bite to eat, and come back and learn about dowsing. We'll see you guys really soon.
Thank you.